Let's take you here now. The parliamentary inquiry into Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane's fitness to hold office kicked off this past week. 2 witnesses took to the stand, with one testifying for 3 days. The inquiry conducted by Parliament's Section 194 committee was not without theatrics between Mkhwebane's legal representative and some MPs. Mercedes Besent looks at some of the highlights.
The inquiry kicked off with opening remarks by the evidence leader and Mkhwebane's legal representative, and the chairperson reassured everyone of the committee's commitment to ensure fairness.
This is a process that we do with no predetermined outcomes. I've always made the point that none of us must have any briefcase outcomes. You might be carrying your briefcase. If you have determined a particular outcome for this process, we do have a medical team here that is going to attend to your stress levels, because it's going to be a very rigorous process. We might not come to your outcome at the end of it.
The evidence leader highlighted that the suspended public protector had a case to answer, citing various court judgments.
In the main, a number of issues raised before this committee relate to several cases which the courts have already considered and pronounced on. These will, amongst others, be referred to as the hearings proceed and include the judgments relating to the South African Reserve Bank or the Absa Lifeboat Report or the CX report, the judgment relating to the Vrede Dairy Project, the judgment relating to the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, the judgment in the dispute in respect of Ms. Pasani Baloy, the judgment relating to the CR17 campaign, the judgment in relation to the investigations conducted of Minister Gordam and in which Mr. Pillay and Mr. van Logrenberg prominently feature. Both of the latter have made themselves available to provide evidence to this committee. The judgment in relation to the Commission of the South African Revenue Services pertaining to confidential taxpayer information and the Public Protector's subpoena powers, and the matter involving the government employees' medical scheme.
Mkhwebane's legal representative placed it on record that their participation was under protest, but one of the sticking points related to a suspension by the president and her alleged futile efforts to prepare for the hearing.
We want to put it out there that she has therefore been completely sabotaged, to use the word that Mogoeng CJ used. She has been sabotaged in preparation for this, and she has been sabotaged in preparation for the 25th and 26th, because you, Chairperson, and the Speaker have said that she must not have lawyers there, or whatever you've said. And so that means that you wanted to double shackle her for this process, but also for the court process. Why? The question is why? In whose interest is it that the public protector must not challenge her unfair suspension? Is it in the interest of these honorable members on whose behalf you speak, Chair? No, I would dare say. Is it in the interest of South Africans in general? No. Is it in the interest of fairness and justice? No.
The first expert witness took the stand on Tuesday to bring the important constitutional role played by a public protector to the fore.
When the public protector fails to discharge her mandate and duties, the strength of South Africa's constitutional democracy is inevitably compromised, and the public is left without the assistance of the constitutionally created guardian.
The witnesses' expertise came into question during cross-examination.
You are not an expert in removal proceedings of public protectors or ombudspersons.
I think there are probably no experts in that area. It's a new area that is being discovered. I think it's an area that the courts are considering. It's an area that Parliament is applying its mind. I would find it very hard to find an expert in this particular field. People have, on the basis of jurisprudence and the legislation, applied their minds as I have applied my mind. I'm not sure.
Tension emerged, especially when former SARS executive Johan van Loggerenberg took the stand for 3 days. There were various heated moments between Mpofu and some opposition MPs during cross-examination on the SARS rogue unit and even state capture.
He was asked by Advocate Mpofu about the relevance of state capture, and then he gave his definition as a lay person. I think that settles it.
It settles for who? I'm the one asking questions here. Okay. I'll tell you when my question is settled.
Advocate Mpofu, you asked to be treated with respect. You asked that repeatedly. I would ask that you treat the members of this committee with like respect.
Okay, but don't shout at me, please.
I'm sorry, I'm not shouting. I'm asking you politely.
I think the only person who has been insulted here this morning is me about speaking at rallies and dragging this until the end of a contract and all sorts of things like that.
By Friday, questions about the existence of the SARS so-called rogue unit emerged again as Van Loggerenberg remained on the stand.
Does the rogue unit still exist, Mr. Van Loggerenberg?
I don't know of any rogue unit, Chair.
Is that your answer?
Which unit are you referring to, Mr.
Now, you know, Mr. Van Loggerenberg, the problem with the witness who just grabs anything is this. You were asked this question, this very question I've just asked you. Does the rogue unit still exist? In an interview with Mr. Aldrin Sampier. You remember that?
No, I don't remember that, Chair.
You remember doing such an interview on Power FM?
Yes, I do, Chair. It was some years ago.
Okay, I'll remind you. You were asked this question, and we have sent a copy of the interview to our learned friends. We're not leading it now, Chair. But if the witness denies, then we will. It doesn't need him, so we can have that debate some other time.
Can I maybe?
Okay.
Just to place it on the record, it was emailed to the secretary this morning at about 8:30.
This triggered more tension during cross-examination of Van Loggerenberg, who made reference to a rogue advocate.
I promise never to refer to advocates as rogue advocates.
Yes. Well, if are you trying to be coy and funny, Mr. Loggerenberg, so that we can laugh at the right time? Pardon?
No, Chair.
Okay. If I may, Chairperson.
Thanks. Honorable Mylam.
Chairperson, once again, I need to object to the tone and manner in which Advocate Mpofu is addressing the witness. We agreed in the directives that witnesses would be treated with dignity and respect. And that is not the case in the way that Advocate Mpofu is addressing the witnesses. In fact, I find his behavior, and I said this yesterday, towards this committee and towards the witnesses to be aggressive, to be disrespectful, to be interrupting, to be arrogant and dismissive. And I'd like to put it on record that Advocate Mpofu needs to start learning how to interact with Parliament. This is not a court of law. There's no grandstanding here. We are here to find the facts. We are here to determine whether or not there's any truth to this. And that's what we are working towards. Now, Advocate Mpofu, please, I'm going to beg of you, please just let's try and stick to the facts. Let's stick to the point and deal with it appropriately. The way that to accuse a witness of being coy or misleading or whatever it was that you said you used facetious earlier, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. If we want to ask a question or if we want to take it further, we will. But please give this committee and the witnesses before it the respect that they deserve.
Thank you.
It's the very least we can expect.
Thank you, Mr. Mylam. You have made your point quite clear.
EFF leader Julius Malema entered the fray. Malema and Mpofu did not leave Mylam's response lying down.
I think this committee has got a chairperson, and that if Advocate Mpofu or any of us are not consistent with the directives, it is well within the chair to bring us back into order. it is going to be very abusive for people to abruptly just stand up here and tell us their feelings. It's not like we're all feeling the same, but we subject everybody in the process here into the capable hands of the chair. So please do not allow that, chair. That people must just, when they feel hot, stand, raise hands here to tell us they're feeling hot. It's not going to happen like that. As long as you have not said to the Advocate Mpofu, you are out of line or anything of that sort, Advocate Mpofu is in line and should be protected by you, the chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Malema.
Thank you.
Before I acknowledge you, Advocate Mpofu, I want to repeat again what I said earlier, that I request that you tone down. You don't have to, because we can't change who you are in terms of how you ask your questions.
Yes, you can't.
But I did indicate that I will invoke the directives when I get to that point.
Yes. Yes, Chair, I think...
Please continue. The witness.
Okay. No. I have to respond. You've just made remarks to me and someone has just insulted me and of grandstanding. So I've got to, please, if you don't mind, Chair, just respond to that.
I would not want us to stay at that point, but you can make your brief point.
Yes,
but I don't want us to be sidetracked
in
this.
Chair, Advocate Mkhwebane and me are entitled to respect as well. If that is not so, then at least me, I will stop participating in this committee, because I'm assuming that as much as respect is expected for me, it must be given. I'm a citizen of this country. The fact that you are a member of parliament doesn't make you, actually you are my servant. I'm a citizen, all right? So I'm not going to be here to kiss the feet of anybody. I'm here to respect people and then they can respect me back. Then we're fine. But I'm not going to be insulted and be called grandstanding and all those things and keep quiet. I will never do that. Never.
Thank you.
I'd rather die.
Thank you, Honorable.
Right.
I think you've covered the point.
All right.
Because I certainly would not share any kissing of feet.
Yeah. No, it's not going to happen.
Please proceed.
Mpofu did not give up, but he and the witness kissed and made up before continuing with cross-examination.
The reason why I was asking Mr. Van Rothenberg that question is because he was being sarcastic. And nobody here, not the honorable member, not the chairperson, is intervening. So I have to intervene for myself, to protect myself. All right? And I'm going to do that until the last day of this hearing. Because nobody here talks about the fact that Mr. Van Rothenberg has referred to a rogue advocate. Who is the rogue advocate? Who is the rogue advocate? And I must respect that.
Okay, thank you, Advocate.
Anyway, all right. Mr. Van Rothenberg, can we go back to the business?
Yes, Chairperson, can I just apologize to Mr. Mpofu? If he mistook, I certainly did not mean to insult him.
No, I accept that, Mr. Van Rothenberg. Thank you.
Before the end of the day's proceedings on the 5th day, Mkhwebane had a moment to respond to certain points of clarity sought by members of the committee, but she chose not to give verbal responses.
On the advice of my legal team, I will respond in writing.
Towards the end, an EFF MP was kicked off the virtual platform after her revelation that Mylem and Natasha Mazzoni, who brought the motion against Mkhwebane, were an item.
Honorable Ompile Mautwe from the virtual.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, mine is not to advocate Mkhwebane or advocate Dalimpofu. It's just to bring to the attention of this committee that Honorable Mayhem is actually the husband of Mrs. Mazzoni, who is the complainant. And we've been seeing throughout the day how he has been harassing Advocate Dalimpofu. And so it on the biasness.
Honorable Mautwe.
My appeal is perhaps it should be...
Mautwe, I want you to stop. You're out of order. I want you to refrain from that.
But you have not heard my question, Chair. I was just giving the background.
I actually want you to withdraw what you've just said.
No, I won't withdraw anything. What am I withdrawing?
I'm going to repeat. Honorable Mautwe, I want you to withdraw what you've just said.
Withdraw what?
Honorable Mautwe, the third time. I want you to withdraw.
What am I withdrawing, Chairperson? I'm asking you a question. What must I withdraw?
IT, please remove Honorable Mautwe from
What
the
must I withdraw, Janji? What is it that I must withdraw?
Please remove
The fact that
Honorable
Mayhem is the
Mautwe
husband of Mazoni.
from the platform.
Mazoni is a complainant. That's why we're sitting here. And he has been harassing
Council
the
Arms and
on top
IT,
of the
please
whole thing.
remove
It's a fact.
Honorable Mautwe from the platform.
This is not your meeting, Chairperson. We're all part of this meeting. I'm a member of this committee. And I
where's
cannot
the
be
IT?
treated like I'm a stepchild in this meeting.
Can you remove Honorable Mautwe from the platform? Who's responsible for that? Thank you.
The inquiry will continue for the second week. Another witness, Ivan Pillay, is expected to testify about Mkhwebane's report on the SARS rogue unit. Mercedes Besent, SABC News, Parliamentary.